Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Kenny, and welcome to Ringside. Sugar Ray Robinson here on ESPN Classic. We are coming to you once again from one of boxing's most historic sites, Gleason's Gym, here in Brooklyn, New York. This sweet science laboratory opened in 1937, and hundreds of champions at one time or another trained here at Gleason's, like Jake LaMotta, George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, to name just a few, and occasionally the fighter who was first to be called pound for pound the greatest fighter ever. The man who will be the subject of tonight's marathon, Sugar Ray Robinson.
And there goes his mouthpiece, and Graziano hits the canvas.
On our card for the next 3 hours, Ringside Pound for Pound will bring you landmark Robinson bouts from the Classic Library. We'll sprinkle some hidden gems from the archives, plus commentary from our panel of experts. Joining me here at Gleason's is my co-host, boxing historian, cigar aficionado, and raconteur, Burt Randolph Sugar, the former welterweight and middleweight champion of the world, and a man who fought 2 epic battles with Sugar Ray himself, Carmen Basilio, Robinson's biographer from the New York Times, Pulitzer Prize winner Dave Anderson, author and noted journalist Pete Hamill. Here are some of the historic fights on tap. We'll roll out the St. Valentine's Day Massacre from 1951, Robinson's final duel with his arch rival Jake LaMotta, the bloody battle immortalized in the movie Raging Bull. The reigning world welterweight champion Sugar Ray stepped up to win the middleweight title for the first of what would be an astonishing 5 times. The images of Robinson's style and power have lingered with fight fans throughout the years. One of his most memorable fights was his showdown with the man who took his title, the tough Englishman Randy Turpin. We'll have that epic from the Polo Grounds in 1951. Some of Robinson's most notable title bouts will also be showcased from the opening bell to the final 10 count, including his title fight with former middleweight champion Rocky Graziano in 1952. The world's best pound-for-pound fighter turned that power on against Graziano, knocking his mouthpiece clean across the ring. All right, let's talk about the all-time great pound-for-pound. Dave, you wrote the book, literally, with Sugar Ray Robinson. How great was he at his peak?
Well, everybody who ever saw him said he was the best. I don't know anybody who preferred somebody else.
You spent how much time with him when you were writing the book?
Well, it took time because you couldn't always. Sugar Ray was as elusive as a subject for a writer as he was as a boxer. So it took us about 3 years, which was great because I had more time to research and everything and go to him with the questions rather than doing a quick job, so to speak.
You know, Burt, it always amazes me that Robinson goes 89-0 as an amateur, then he goes 40-0, loses to LaMotta. He ended up, I've got it written down here, 1 loss in 135 fights, 131 and 1, 2 draws and no decision. But it's incredible, that record that he built up at his peak.
And the irony is that 1 loss to Jake LaMotta in 43, February of 43, he reverses when? In February of 43. They fight 3 weeks later. Ray Robinson, and he was the man for whom I think it was Jack Miley coined the phrase best pound for pound. And he was. He could do everything. He was flawless. I happen to remember I got a call once. I'd written a book on rating the fighters, 1 to 100, and I got a call from some writer named Dave Anderson who said, "Do you still have Ray Robinson #1 as the best?" And I said, yes, he was flawless. And it was in the New York Times obituary when he died, written by somebody named Dave Anderson.
I thought it was Burt who said, there's Ray Robinson, and then there's the top 10. I thought it was
There's
you.
1 through 9, and then you pick 10.
How huge was he, Pete, in New York? What was it like here?
He was not that huge, because he very seldom fought in New York. Most of his fights were out of town. It was before, at his peak, during the runs that you just described. We don't begin to see him very much in New York until the Maxim fight, which he lost. And then the fights afterwards, Basilio and some other fights were here. But most of the LaMotta fights were out of town. I think all of them were out of New York. And as a kid, as a fan, before I was a newspaper man, the only place I ever could get to see him was either at Stillman's or Harry Wiley's gym in Harlem. You couldn't see him. He didn't fight at the Garden that much for various reasons, I guess.
He was always warring with the IBC.
Yeah, he was a very independent type at the time, who made his own deals, and his place in New York was based on the fact that he was one of the kings of Harlem, that he owned a whole city block, that he had Sugar Ray's and a dry cleaning place.
And a pink flamingo
And a pink
Cadillac that he
flamingo.
drove up and down the street.
I remember seeing that pink flamingo Cadillac once on Broadway, right outside Mike Jacobs' office.
Yeah.
You know, down the Brill Building, right outside.
Yeah.
But you talk about him fighting in New York. The only time I ever saw him early in his career was, it was 1947, as I remember, it was Labor Day, and we lived in Brooklyn in Bay Ridge, and my father was reading the paper, and he said, Sugar Ray Robinson's going to fight. Now this was 47, which he, you know, everybody knew him, but he wasn't the Sugar Ray we think of at that point. He said, we got to see him. So we drove out from Bay Ridge to Coney Island. He fought in the Coney Island Velodrome on a Labor Day afternoon against a guy named Billy Brown from Hartford. I don't know how I remember that name, but I do.
It's an unusual name, that's why.
That's the first time I ever saw Sugar Ray.
And in 47, he already was the welterweight champion.
Yes, he was.
He had beaten Tommy Bell in December of the previous year.
Hey, Bert, what was he like in the ring? Describe for the younger fans who have never seen him. What was he in the ring?
He was everything. I could play Rashomon with you, give you different views. He could fight going backwards. In fact, I saw him knock out a man going backwards, which is a hell of a lot of leverage. He was a great defensive fighter. He could move on you. He could hit with either hand. He just did not like to get hit. And this is Gene Fulmer. Goodbye, Gene. He went into the ring with his marcelled hair and didn't like it mussed up, a la Benny Leonard, who had done that a few years before. He was everything. I mean, there's not one description of Ray Robinson. I mean,
whatever he needed to do, he did.
And he had a chin.
He had it all.
Yeah.
And Muhammad Ali,
And
of course, would revere. What was it, the quote that he would always give? My master, Ali, in your book, David, mentioned Ali would always say to Ray Robinson when he was saying, my master, my idol, my hero.
He wanted Ray Robinson to be his manager.
Yeah.
On his way to the Olympics in 1960, he stopped in New York and he literally asked Ray Robinson to be his manager, and Ray didn't want to do it.
Well, let's get some thoughts right now on Sugar Ray Robinson from Muhammad Ali and also Joe Louis.
Pound for pound, when they say Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest fighter pound for pound, meaning that I imagine if he was a heavyweight fighting the same style, he'd be the greatest. I would have to admit, I would have to say yes. I have his fight films, I've watched the films, you have them. That man was beautiful, timing, speed, reflexes, rhythm, his body, everything was beautiful.
Ray Robinson was the best fighter that ever stepped in the ring because he could punch, and even now when he used to back away from him, he could knock out a little left hook.
Beautiful to watch in the ring. Outside of the ring, what are we talking about? Where did the entourage come from?
Entourage was initiated by Ray Robinson. Now, today, the entourages are nothing compared to when he goes to Europe. He takes a masseuse and a hairdresser, even had
took his golf
clubs and his
golf pro.
And his car and a midget dwarf. He had a mascot who was a dwarf who was with him. I mean, today they say an entourage. It's a small E compared to what Ray Robinson went around with.
Well, Charlie Michaelis was the promoter in Paris, and part of the deal was that Ray could ship his Flamingo Cadillac to Paris because Charlie Michaelis wanted him to drive it around.
Did he just need people around him? I mean, most fighters like to have people around him, or did he just get bored, or he needed a court jester around him, Dave? What was it?
He liked the scene. Let's put it that way.
Well, he was the scene.
Exactly, but he wanted all his people with him.
Pete, I always wonder now, is he just a guy who was ahead of his time in that he didn't want to be abused, and fighters are still abused and taken advantage of, and he wouldn't? Or was he such a tough negotiator that actually he was kind of the bad guy? Where do you stand on all that?
No, I think what he was doing, insisting on being independent, went back earlier to Jack Johnson, who he resembled in certain ways. I think he felt he took the punches. He should keep the money, and God bless him for taking that attitude.
Right.
It was early and in a period where mob guys controlled certain divisions, and it was not easy. And television was becoming a force towards the end of that first stage of his career before he retired. And yet he set up what is today the basic system, not completely. I wish Mike Tyson had followed in the footsteps of Ray Robinson. He'd have more money right now. But I think it was part of the sense that he had that he was special. He really did think he was special because he was. He was not the product of fixed fights or anything like that. He fought whoever he wanted to fight and usually won.
It's well chronicled too.
Well, and he knew
by
he
you,
was,
Dave, that he turned away many.
oh yeah, but he knew he was the attraction.
Right.
Yeah.
He knew that when he fought, people came to see him. They didn't come to see the other guy.
Just very quickly, when he fought Gene Fullmer for the title in January '57, Gene came away with 12.5% of the gate and none of the TV money. He drove a hard bargain.
Did. Now let's go back in time, though. We'll take it back. Again, tired for waiting for a shot as Jake LaMotta's middleweight crown. Sugar Ray took one last fight as a welterweight in 1950. His opponent, New Jersey fighter named Charlie Fusari. Sugar Ray's motivation for the fight came outside of the ring. He wanted to honor his childhood friend, Spider Valentine, who he beat in the 1939 Golden Gloves, who had just died of cancer. Sugar Ray donated his entire purse, nearly $50,000, to the Damon Runyon Cancer Fund to honor his old friend.
Sugar Ray Robinson, welterweight champion of the world, comes out for round one in the white trunks. Challenger Charlie Fusari is wearing black. The champion began his ring career professionally in 1940, 10 years ago. Ray, at 30 years of age, is giving away 5 years to the younger Fusari. As an amateur, Robinson won the Golden Gloves featherweight title in 1939 and lightweight title in 1940. Ray's amateur career consisted of 85 fights, of which he won 69 by KO, 40 of them in the first round. From time to time, we'll use the slow motion camera to analyze the brilliant moves of champion Sugar Ray Robinson. Robinson's speed, grace, and power are picturesque. Ray's rapier-like left darts out with blinding speed. Robinson won round 14 by a slim margin. Here in the 15th and final round, it's all Sugar Ray. Ray's manager, George Gainsford, is very confident that his fighter will retain the world welterweight title tonight and plans to have Ray concentrate on the more profitable middleweight division in the future. Ray himself would like a shot at middleweight champion Jake LaMotta early next year. Charlie Fusari is a marvelously talented boxer, as evidenced by his hard-fought victories over Rocky Castellani, Tippy Larkin, and Joey Peralta. A sensational combination by both fighters. There's the bell, ending this World Championship contest. When the decision comes, it's no surprise. Sugar Ray Robinson retains his World Welterweight Championship with a hard-fought decision over tough, game Charlie Fusari. And with his victory, Robinson donates his winner's purse to the relief fund. Walter Winchell, representing the fund, accepts Robinson's donation.
Stay tuned for more of the Sugar Ray Marathon here on ESPN Classic. Up next, Robinson blitzes all contenders with a string of vintage knockouts in his 1950 winter tour of Europe as he gets in tune for another showdown against the Raging Bull, Jake LaMotta. See the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in a special ringside presentation. Vintage film, kinescope, and Russ Hodges' radio call all blended together for what would be the final chapter of 6 brutal fights in this epic rivalry. This is Ringside from Gleason's Gym in Brooklyn. And welcome back to Ringside. Sugar Ray Robinson, our Power Pack marathon of big fights showcasing the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Robinson's power and flamboyance made him a star around the world. A big reason for this was his barnstorming tours of Europe in the early 1950s. Along with his large entourage and on his second trip, his pink Cadillac, Sugar Ray traveled through France, Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, and Italy, leaving a trail of broken fighters and new fans in his wake. Let's take a look at some of the action from Sugar Ray Robinson's European power trip. Sugar Ray's first port of call, Paris, France, where local hero Gene Stock quickly felt the full force of Sugar Ray Robinson.
It's November 27, 1950. Sugar Ray Robinson takes on Gene Stock in Paris, France. Robinson is seen here in round 2 wearing white trunks. Robinson took round 1 with hard punches to the body and head. And here in round 2, he's looking to take over. Dynamite punches by Sugar Ray Robinson. Stock in desperate trouble here in round 2. A crushing left hook by Ray Robinson, and Stock goes down. Gene in desperate trouble. Stock listening to the referee. Gene Stock on his feet at the count of 9 as Ray moves in. The referee separates the two fighters. A right to the body, and Stock goes down again. The referee picks up the count. 5, 6, 7, 8. Stock is on his feet once again as Ray moves in. A sensational combination of punches, and Stock goes down for the 3rd time. The referee picks up the count. Stock in his own corner, trying desperately to get to his feet. He's up at the count of 8, but the towel goes in. It's all over. In slow motion, let's watch the sensational Sugar Ray Robinson once again. Ray knows Stock's in trouble. A hard right to the body. A left hook. Another left hook. And Stock goes pummeling backwards. The referee is screaming out the count. Gene Stock sitting in his own corner. Stock doesn't know where he is. Gene desperately trying to get to his feet. Courageously, Stock beats the count. But the towel is thrown in, signaling the end of the fight. It's all over. Sugar Ray Robinson scores a devastating second-round knockout over Gene Stock in Paris. Ray had just too many guns for the game Gene Stock. It's December 9th, 1950. Ray Robinson takes on tough Luc Van Dam in Brussels. Robinson is wearing dark trunks. Luc Van Dam is wearing light. Ray Robinson all over Luc Van Dam, and Van Dam goes down from a beautiful combination. Van Dam is holding his stomach. He's helped to the corner as the bell signals the end of the round. Van Dam answers the bell for the 4th round. He seems to have recovered from that earlier knockdown. Ray with 3 lightning left hooks, and Van Dam goes down again. The referee counting over Luc Van Dam. It's all over. In slow motion, once again we see Sugar Ray Robinson at his magnificent best. A sharp left hook. A combination of punches to the body. Rapid-fire lefts and rights to the body by Sugar Ray Robinson. A right to the body by Ray. Robinson stalking Luc Van Dam. Robinson in his classic stand-up style. Three lefts, and Van Dam goes down. Ray casually walks to a neutral corner as the referee picks up the count. It's all over. Van Dam can't get to his feet. Radio announcers broadcast the results around the globe. Ray Robinson scores a fourth-round knockout victory over Luc Van Dam in Brussels. It's December 25th, 1950. Welterweight champion Ray Robinson takes on German middleweight Hans Stretz in Frankfurt. Robinson won the first 4 rounds with accurate left jabs and sharp body punches. Here in round 5, Ray will be looking for that one big knockout punch. Ray scores a torrid left hook. Another sharp left by Ray Robinson. A right-hand bomb, and Stretz goes down. On Stretz trying to get to his feet. Stretz beats the count, and Ray moves in. Ray measuring his man, and Stretz goes down in delayed action from a left hook. It doesn't look like he's going to beat the count. But Stretz makes it to his feet once again. Ray all over Hans Stretz. And Stretz goes down for the 3rd time. The referee screaming out the count. That's it. It's all over. In slow motion. Let's watch the magnificent Ray Robinson once again. Ray pouring it on. Robinson all over Hans Stretz. Stretz goes down, and Robinson goes to a neutral corner. The referee yelling out the count. Stretz gamely tries to get to his feet. But he can't make it. It's all over. Sugar Ray Robinson scores a 5th-round knockout victory over German middleweight Hans Stretz in Frankfurt. It's June 16th, 1951. Newly crowned middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Robinson, takes on Gene Walczak in Liège. Robinson won the World Middleweight Championship just 4 months ago when he KO'd the great Jake LaMotta in the 13th round in Chicago. Tonight's bout is Robinson's 7th fight this year. He has won all 6, 4 by knockout. French middleweight Gene Walczak is no stranger to the ring. Walczak has been fighting professionally for 9 years. He has faced the likes of Marcel Cerdan and Ike Williams. But now Gene is in there with one of the greatest fighters in any division, Sugar Ray Robinson. Ray gets in with a lightning left hook, and Walczak goes down. Walczak listening to the count. And there's the bell ending the round. Walczak seemed to have recovered from that knockdown in round 5, but he knows Robinson will be looking to end it here in round 6. Ray is scheduled to make the first defense of his middleweight title next month against Randy Turpin of England. Ray, at 31, is 2 years older than Gene Walczak. Ray pouring it on. A dynamite left, and Walczak goes back. A combination of punches, and Walczak goes down for the 2nd time. He's on his feet as Ray moves in. A combination of punches, and Gene goes down again. In slow motion. Sugar Ray Robinson throwing that dynamite. A series of lefts. Gene Walczak in trouble. Ray supremely confident. A right uppercut. A left right to the jaw. Ray Robinson all business in there. 3 dynamite lefts, and Walzak goes back. Ray throwing bombs. Sugar Ray Robinson, the boxing master. A sensational left sends Walzak back again. Another blistering combination, and Walzak goes down. The referee sends Ray to a neutral corner, picks up the count, and courageously Gene gets to his feet. Ray moves in to finish it. Now Ray is throwing dynamite in there. Walzak goes down for the 3rd time. It's all over. Sugar Ray Robinson scores a convincing 6th-round knockout over French middleweight Gene Walzak. Gene was a very game fighter, but Sugar Ray demonstrated why he is the middleweight champion of the world and pound for pound, the greatest fighter in the ring.
After fighting 5 times in 29 days across 4 countries, Sugar Ray returns stateside to fight Jake LaMotta for the world middleweight title. Next here on Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson will have the legendary 6th and final bout between the 2 arch rivals. A fight immortalized in the movie Raging Bull and known to all boxing fans as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Welcome back to ESPN Classics Ringside from Gleason's Gym. Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta fought 6 times. LaMotta handed Robinson his first career loss in 1943. But the best remembered fight from their series of legendary slugfests is the last one, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. LaMotta, the Raging Bull himself, trained for the fight at Gleason's.
So let's drop in to Bobby Gleason's gym in the Bronx, where LaMotta usually trains whenever a tough assignment awaits him. Leading his handlers up the stairs, the middleweight champion LaMotta dethroned the stout-hearted French-Moroccan Marcel Sedan in 1949 and has since successfully defended his title in 3 engagements. The bell rings. Jake stops whatever he's doing. Consequently, the exact amount of time is spent on each phase of training. His beautiful blonde wife is a familiar sight wherever LaMotta trains. LaMotta, in the black trunks, is an aggressive, free-swinging fighter. He has power in either hand, and he excels in bull-like, brutal body attacks. Jake can also take a terrific battering without showing any ill effects. Endurance and stamina have always been in LaMotta's favor, but the wear and tear of the ring has taken their toll, and Jake faces a severe test against Sugar Ray. Robinson and LaMotta have fought 5 times, with Sugar Ray emerging victorious on 4 occasions. Five years have elapsed since their last meeting. LaMotta, since acquiring the middleweight title, has become a very cautious fighter. But come February 14, caution will be thrown to the wind as the champions meet his severest test, the dazzling and hard-punching Ray Robinson.
Well, much of what is known now about Jake LaMotta, I think, rests on Raging Bull and what we've seen this generation, what they've seen of Jake LaMotta. So, Bert, let me start with you. What type of man was Jake LaMotta? Well,
first of all, they say he was a great puncher. He only went to the body because he had very fragile hands, very small hands. In fact, he would have to shoot him with Novocaine before a fight. They were that fragile. Also, they talk about Robinson and LaMotta. LaMotta started in the amateurs as 189 pounds. You can see it in his frame. He then fought his first year as a pro as a light heavyweight, 175. Then came down to middleweight by starving himself so that he would be training on water just to keep 160. He was, he was an unusual fighter in terms of making the most out of what he had. And he was a great fighter, and there's one point in that Raging Bull that he claims never happened. He never went across the ring and said anything to Ray Robinson after that fight because he had to sit on a stool for 20 minutes.
After not going down.
Yeah,
something he took pride in later in life, throughout his life, saying he never went down.
But he had to sit on a stool, so he never went over to tell Ray, hey, you didn't knock me down.
Right. Pete, what are your recollections of LaMotta?
Well, the reputation he had around New York, among other fighters, was that he was one of the worst human beings who ever lived.
Okay.
And I think that after Walter O'Malley died, he probably had full claim on that title. But he was, as Bert said, a great fighter, I think, and determination, heart, will. Even in the fights that he did some business, the Billy Fox fight and some others, he still refused to go down. He would take the beating. And I don't think he was so crucial to Robinson as Dave points out in his wonderful book, as Fritzy Zivik was. When Ray finally fought Zivik, who was one of the dirtiest fighters ever and tough, and came out the other end, I think Ray knew then how good he was.
He said he learned more from fighting him, Zivik, than all the other fights put together.
Dave, what did Ray Robinson say about his battles with LaMotta?
Well, the one thing I remember is, and you're probably right, Bert, I don't think he said, you didn't knock me down. But I remember Ray telling me that as they left the ring, he looked over and everything in Jake's face said
Sneered.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was sneering as if to say, you still didn't knock me down.
He gave away a lot of size in those fights.
Yeah,
Dave,
well,
what did he say? Is it
well,
like 15, 16 pounds?
That was one of the first Matador bullfights, and Ray said the Matador always wins, and except for that first fight, he always did.
He did more damage to Jake LaMotta on February 14th, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, I think, than the Capone gang did to Bugs Moran 22 years earlier. And at least LaMotta got up or didn't go down. The other poor 7 guys on Clark Street are still there, I think.
Well, LaMotta didn't have any holes in him.
I think the early fights were tougher because Ray was still growing out of the welterweight division.
Sure.
And so if Jake was really 165 when he came in after eating or more, he probably had a good lot of weight on Ray when Ray was 152, 53 really for those fights.
He was probably also the first tough bull-type fighter that Ray fought. When Ray was fighting at an earlier weight, younger weight, you didn't get a guy like that. And all of a sudden, here was this guy in front of him.
All right, they fought 6 times. This is the one that exists on film right now. Sugar Ray Robinson, welterweight champion of the world. Jake LaMotta, the middleweight champion of the world. They met Chicago Stadium, February 14th, 1951. One of the most famous fights in boxing history. And for the first time here on ESPN Classic, we present the bout using the radio call of the legendary Russ Hodges over the original telecast, enhanced also by a 16mm film.
No rapid punching, no kidney punches. Be careful of your low punches, they may cost you a round. In case of a knockdown, I want you to go to your furthest corner and stay there till I tell you to come out fighting. Any questions? Shake hands and come out fighting.
Now we're ready for the action in this fight, and here is your blow-by-blow announcer, Russ Hodges. And believe you me, Jack Drees, this stacks up to be a real Pabst Blue Ribbon event. Sugar Ray, cool and confident. Jake LaMotta continues to shadow box over his corner as they get the warning buzzer for round 1 in it should be the dream bout of the last 10 or 15 years. And here's the bell for round 1, and out they come. LaMotta in a crouch. Robinson leads first with the left hand of the forward, but it was light. LaMotta leads with a left hand of the head, then goes to the midsection of Sugar Ray with a long left hand that shook Ray up quite a bit. LaMotta trying to use his superior strength and weight in the infighting, bulling around. His left hand goes into Sugar Ray's forehead, but very short. Here is a light left-hander from Sugar Ray now on the nose of LaMotta. Then Sugar Ray buries a right hand down in the midsection of Jake, the boy from the Bronx. Here is Robinson stabbing away at the forehead with his left hand, and the nose of LaMotta is reddening a bit as Robinson misses a long overhand right hand and then retreats as LaMotta pounds away at the midsection and is tied up partially by Robbie. Then Robbie finishes the clinch, and LaMotta and Jake's right eye is reddening quite a bit as Robinson continues to stab and run. Not really running, but continuing to move. Robinson with 2 light lefts comes inside, chops the right hand at the ear of the middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray, of course, the welterweight, fighting at 155 tonight, and here is LaMotta trying to bull Robbie around and throw him away, and Robbie just held on as they break out of the clinch. LaMotta coming in very low, and Miss Robinson stabbing away at that eye, and he continues the left hand, and now LaMotta with two left hands high on the forehead of Robinson, and a left hook from Jake LaMotta. The forehead of LaMotta reddening a bit as he throws a left hand at Sugar Ray's head, and Sugar Ray was not there. Ray weaves and bobs as he comes in and lashes the nose twice with his left hand, and LaMotta misses a vicious left hook for the head of Sugar Ray. Then Ray continues to retreat and misses a left hook of his own at the head of Jake LaMotta. Now LaMotta with two left hands to the midsection, and a left hook to the head, and Robinson moves back to the ropes, now moves in. LaMotta swelling a bit beneath the right eye. Robinson lashes out with two light left hands for the forward, another light left hand. As LaMotta comes in with his left hand high on Sugar's forehead, Sugar backing away. Robinson beating a retreat as LaMotta chases him around the ring now, and then goes to work on the midsection with two left hooks, and Sugar Ray staggers away from the force of the Bronx Bull. LaMotta inside, fighting powerfully, goes with the left hook under the heart, and Robinson breaks ground again as Jake is content to take the left to the face. And now LaMotta pounding to the midsection with a left and a right. Robinson continuing to move, and he has started to muss up the nose of Jake LaMotta a bit with that constant left hand. LaMotta's left hand hooking for the nose of Sugar Ray, slid on over the nose, and Robinson has LaMotta pawing at the nose, and LaMotta seems to stagger Robbie a bit as Robbie was going along the ropes. LaMotta buries his left hand deep in Robinson's midsection, and then Jake misses a long left hand thrown for the head, and Jake starts to throw that lethal right of his with about 5 seconds left to go in round one. Robinson short with the left hand, and there's the bell to end round one.
Round number 2 of the World Middleweight Championship bout. Jake LaMotta, Sugar Ray Robinson.
LaMotta with the power in his blows, and Sugar Ray with that lashing left hand of his going out. Here's LaMotta plodding in now, coming in low, and Robinson nails him with the right hand as LaMotta was going away, and Jake's head went under the first ring strand of the ropes there as Robbie really tagged him with the right hand. But Jake's all right as he comes back into the center, goes with his left hand and is tagged on the nose by Sugar Ray, who is fighting a cutting, slashing, savage battle with his left hand and throwing his right whenever the opportunity presents, which hasn't been too often. Now Robinson with the left of the nose and the left of the midsection. LaMotta with a straight left into the forehead. Robinson with a long right hand to the midsection that is short. Two left hands on the nose of Jake LaMotta, the middleweight champion, by Sugar Ray. LaMotta with two light left hands into the forehead. Now LaMotta swings a right hand that is blocked by Robinson's left elbow, and Robinson picks him off with two straight left hands as Jake was lunging in. This is round 2 of this Pabst Blue Ribbon event in Chicago Stadium. Here is Jake starting to throw his right, but Robinson keeps him at bay as he bounces that left hand a couple of times off the forehead, then lashes it twice to the nose without a return from Jake. Then Jake gets in the left hand to Sugar Ray and sends Sugar Ray away. And as LaMotta comes in with his left hand high, Robinson gets in under it and causes LaMotta to miss a long, looping left hook. Now LaMotta with two lefts on Sugar Ray's nose as Robinson bounces around and then tags LaMotta on the nose as LaMotta comes in, and LaMotta with the left hand high on Robinson's forehead. And the crowd is in an uproar. LaMotta in very low, then uses his left hand to jab twice to the forehead, runs into a left hand of his own, and LaMotta misses a savage left hook that would have torn Robbie's head off. Here is LaMotta with a left hook now to the chin as Robbie was moving away. LaMotta throws a looping right hand, landing on the top of Sugar Ray's head. Two straight left hands now from Robinson, and then he hooks to the head of Jake LaMotta, and LaMotta was under the left hook. There is a discoloration under LaMotta's right eye, but nothing that should cause him any damage at the present time. A left hand into the midsection of Sugar Ray by Jake, and then Robbie nailed him on the nose twice and broke ground and moved away to the ropes. The left hand in by Sugar Ray again as he bounces back. LaMotta pushes him away with the left hand. It didn't land. And then in the infighting, it is Robinson swarming on LaMotta and throwing his left and his right. The left hook landed on the chin. The right hand was blocked for the left elbow. LaMotta grim and menacing as he continues to stalk Robinson around. Robinson beating a retreat now and lashing out with a left once, twice, 3 times, then ducks under a left hand that LaMotta started to throw and did not. Then LaMotta with a right hand into the midsection, and Robbie continues to move and stick with that left hand twice to the nose again. LaMotta plodding around, his face red from the constant pounding that left hand has given it so far. Here is LaMotta with the left hand high on the forehead of Sugar Ray, and Sugar Ray with a good left hook, and he catches the left hook as the bell ends round 2. Both boys in good skill for round 3, and LaMotta sticks him with a left hand to the midsection and then runs into three tremendous left hands and a right cross by Sugar Ray. And LaMotta held on grimly for the first time tonight as Ray is leveling with the right hand now. He's been shooting the left jab, but he's suddenly unfurled that big bertha of his right hand. And LaMotta was nailed a couple of times. Now, Robinson with a right hand to the midsection as LaMotta comes in, his face contorted, and backed away from a right hand thrown by Sugar Ray. And Sugar Ray with two left hands in on the nose. LaMotta coming inside and hooking with his left hand. And Robbie breaks ground as the left hand grazed his jaw as he was moving back. Now Robinson inside, and he runs in a straight left that landed on the heart. Here is a left hand in from Sugar Ray, but it was light. And LaMotta bounces him away with a left hook of his own. Here's Robbie with a left hand in for the forehead. This is the first minute of round 3. Robinson misses a savage overhand right hand to the head as LaMotta came in very low. And LaMotta scores with a left hook to the head of Sugar Ray. As Sugar Ray backs away, then they exchange straight left. And another left goes in on the nose of LaMotta, and yet another one from Sugar Ray Robinson. LaMotta down to the midsection with the left hand, and his right hand tied up by Ray, and they break away. LaMotta and Robinson in one of those great ones that you read about. Sugar continuing to stick with the left hand, brings up a right uppercut, and sends Jake LaMotta away from there with that right uppercut. But then Ray comes fighting, Jake comes backing in once again and runs into two left hands that are puffing up his eyes quite a bit, but he is still a dangerous and powerful man. And going inside, it's LaMotta with a left and a right to the body, and Robinson retreated again. Here is Robinson swinging a long right hand to the midsection, lashing a left hand in for the nose of Jake LaMotta. Another left by Sugar Ray as he just keeps that left hand out there, using his superior reach of 5.5 inches to keep LaMotta away. Then Robinson flags LaMotta with a terrific right hand uppercut. LaMotta runs into another right hand under the heart, and it's Jake with a minute to go in round 3, holding on for the moment. Now, what will Sugar Ray try to do? But it's LaMotta coming to Sugar Ray, and Ray breaks ground, and a high left hand on the forehead of Sugar Ray puts LaMotta right back in the ballgame. Then LaMotta runs into a left hand for the chin, and then stabs for the forehead of Sugar Ray with his own left hand. Ray rolls along the ropes and moves away, and then is tagged with the left hook. He might be staggered at this point by that. LaMotta stalking his opponent. Robinson breaking ground, gets inside, ties up LaMotta, and referee Sakura is there to break them up. This is really a very severe round for both men as LaMotta's tagged on the nose with a straight left, and then Robbie misses a right cross intended for the jaw of the middleweight champion, Jake LaMotta. LaMotta moving in on Robbie again as Robbie, race that he is, continues to move around. Two left for Robbie, and a left hand to the midsection by Jake LaMotta. LaMotta with left hand to the midsection. Misses an overhand right for the chin and pushes Sugar Ray Robinson away, as there's no doubt about it in the infighting that LaMotta is by far the stronger. Three left hands in for the head now, and Robinson misses a right uppercut as the bell ends round 3 and gets a few boos from the crowd. All right.
More of the Sugar Ray Robinson-Jake LaMotta 1951 middleweight title fight here coming up on Classic. Plenty of bonus coverage as LaMotta shares memories of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And we'll discuss Robert De Niro's Academy Award-winning performance in Raging Bull.
The winner, Boston hits one. Blanca throws.
That was Russ Hodges, of course, with one of the most famous calls in sports, a home run that broke the hearts of Dodger fans all around the world and here in Brooklyn, of course. Hodges is handling the radio play-by-play chores for the 6th and final encounter between the arch-rivals Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta. The contrast in styles of these two fighters is evident in the first 3 rounds. LaMotta, the Bronx Bull, all aggression, taking punches to give punches. Robinson, the boxer, constantly jabbing and looking to land his combinations. Let's get back to the fight. It's round 4, and Sugar Ray clearly thinks he has LaMotta in trouble. He comes out looking to land the knockout shot.
For round number 4. Sugar Ray Robinson in the white.
Robinson lashing out with a left hand and another straight left from Ray. A left hook by LaMotta, high on the forehead. LaMotta very powerful. Inside, runs into a terrific right hand. And a left hook. Robinson nails him on the rope. opposite our Pabst Blue Ribbon microphone, but LaMotta held on and weathered the storm. Then LaMotta ran into an uppercut and a severe left hook, and LaMotta staggers across the ring and weaves and bobs to escape Robinson, as Robinson nails him with left and right and chases him with that straight left of his, but LaMotta keeps fighting on after being badly hurt by a terrific right hand that landed on his ear. Now Robbie nails him over the left eye with a straight left again. Robinson bleeding from the mouth as Jake LaMotta continues to club with his left hand when he gets in close to Sugar Ray. Ray's superior reach taking its toll. Robinson with the left of the nose and another left, and he backs away from the left of the head. And a right cross by Robbie, and it staggered Jake, and he almost went down. He missed a bristling right uppercut to the whiskers that would have put LaMotta down for the first time in his ring career. Now backing away is Robbie as he bleeds from the mouth a bit, and Jake plods in, and a right cross from Sugar Ray, and LaMotta's hurt and may go down. He went down almost to his knees to escape the punch, but nothing touched the floor. Now, a left hand in from Sugar Ray again as Jake comes moving in on him. It's the right hand of Robinson that started to take its toll as Robbie sets him up for it with those continuous left jabs of his. Two left jabs by Robbie, a right uppercut that he misses, and a left hook that he misses, and then he pushes Jake LaMotta away. And LaMotta, now as Robinson backs out of LaMotta's own corner, and it's Robbie starting a right hand. He doesn't throw it. He misses the short left to the midsection. And LaMotta lands a short left into the nose of Sugar Ray. LaMotta goes inside with a right hand to the midsection, and then shoots his left hand in for Sugar Ray's head. Ray moving in with two lefts to the eyes. Flicking in that left hand, but it's annoying, and it's rolling up a lot of points for Sugar. Sugar backing away, crossing his right hand to LaMotta. And LaMotta moves back in his tag with a right uppercut and a right cross and a left hook by Sugar Ray. And then Ray gets inside to tie him up with a minute left to go in round 4. LaMotta going on the attack now, following Sugar Ray around. Ray moving always away from the left hand of Jake, and Jake tags him with the left hand as Sugar moves to the rope. LaMotta with a straight left hand for the nose of Sugar Ray, which appears to be swollen just a bit. Now LaMotta with a left hook to the midsection, a terrific left hook to the head, and Robinson appeared to be addled a bit by that tremendous blow, which is probably the worst he has taken so far tonight. Now LaMotta down to the midsection with a left hand and a right cross that had Sugar covering up. Ray once again uses his left hand to try to slow down the bull from the Bronx of New York. Robinson has his left hook blocked, intending for the midsection of Jake LaMotta. Here's Robbie with his left hand out, but LaMotta goes in with the jab. Twice to the eyes of Sugar Ray, and Robinson lands a terrific left hook on Jake LaMotta's jaw as LaMotta was coming in. Then LaMotta with a left hand to Sugar Ray's jaw, and they're using the left hands now quite freely. Both boys jabbing as the bell ends round 4.
The fifth round of a 15-round World Championship fight for the middleweight title here in Chicago, and there they go. Both boys have attending positions in their corners tonight with honorary second cards. Two minutes to go of round number 5. That brought blood from Robinson's nostril. The left with the right cross. 1 minute to go, round number 5. Half a minute to go of the fifth round. 1/2 a minute to go. There's the bell ending round number 5.
Mouthpiece for round 7. Jake LaMotta getting some final words of instruction before he comes out. And here we go for round 7 for the middleweight championship of the world. A real Pabst Blue Ribbon event. Here's a straight left by Robbie, as LaMotta has been content to take Robinson's Sunday punches and just try to get in his own. Here is another left hand by Robinson, and he runs into a left hook just thrown by the middleweight champion. Another left hand in by Sugar Ray. LaMotta fighting as though he's a man with a grim destiny, moves in and tags that right jaw of Robbie's again with his left hand. And they exchange good left hooks, and both boys felt him plenty. Robinson misses a long overhand right, thrown for that rock-ribbed chin of the Bronx Bull. Now, LaMotta comes in and is tagged over the eye with a left hand, then buries his left hand under the heart of Sugar Ray and wrestles him along the ropes. And Sugar Ray breaks the roll along the ropes and shoots his left hand in for the nose of Jake LaMotta. Robbie moving away again. LaMotta following him around with that peculiar crouch, that ape-like crouch that he uses, but he certainly seems to be able to get those blows in. Now as Jake starts to come in, Robbie buries a right hand into the midsection of Jake LaMotta. A straight left hand in there by Robbie, and he almost tripped as he was moving away, but it was not as a result of a blow. Now over in Robinson's own corner, LaMotta had him tied up, but Robbie skidded along the ropes and got away. A left hand in by Robinson on the nose of LaMotta. LaMotta clubs his right hand to the body, is tagged with a short left hand on the chin, as Jake is always moving to the attack and gets that chin of his into a lot of trouble, but he can punch his way out of it. Robinson drifting back now as LaMotta comes to him. Outside of a little blood from the nose of Robinson, this has been a very clean fight from that respect. Now LaMotta is tagged with a right cross as he moved into Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray with a left hand, and Robinson along the ropes. LaMotta follows him around, his eyes very grim, very determined. Robinson is staggered with a tremendous left hook. As he breaks ground to go over to his own corner, we can see his eyes are clear, and he makes LaMotta miss a terrific left hand thrown for the head. And here is Robinson missing a left hook thrown for the head of Jake LaMotta. Then he scores with a straight left hand on the chin of Jake. Here's Robbie scoring with 2 left hands on the chin now. And a right cross by Sugar, one of his best right hands of the night. And LaMotta just sinks a little lower, and his crouch comes up in the clinch and hangs on. Another left hand by Sugar Ray on the nose of Jake LaMotta. And another left hand and a right cross. And Robbie missed a right hand, a terrific right hand, as LaMotta was weaving away from him. Now, Jake, with his gloves up very high, continues to plot in. Robbie bounces away and scores with a left hook to Jake as Jake landed his right hand down to the midsection. And it's LaMotta with 2 left hands in for the forehead of Sugar Ray. Then LaMotta with a 2-fisted attack to the body, but when he moved it up to the head, Robinson was not there. Now LaMotta with a left hand in on the nose of Sugar Ray as Ray beats a retreat. Then the exchange left hand, the straight left hand. Now a 2-fisted attack by LaMotta once again downstairs on Sugar Ray, but Ray was picking them off on his gloves. Now LaMotta with a straight left into the chin, and it appeared to hurt Ray just a bit. Ray moving away. LaMotta follows him around. A left hand under the eye of Jake LaMotta, and another left with Sugar Ray. As LaMotta gets way inside, starts to throw his right and holds it up, and Sugar Ray breaks ground and moves away as the bell ends.
Lots more of Sugar Ray's boxing magnificence on tap in our Ringside Robinson Marathon, including his title showdown with Englishman Randy Turpin and former middleweight champion Rocky Graziano.
He was voted. Last year they voted. Did you know that? Pound for pound, the greatest fighter that ever lived. And we fought 6 times. And you don't fight 6 times unless they're very close. I hypnotized myself that nobody could hurt me. I didn't know at the time I was hypnotizing myself, but I convinced myself so strongly that nobody could hurt me. And Robinson couldn't knock me down. I was helpless. I couldn't lift up my arms. He couldn't knock me down. I was helpless because after all the weight I lost and what I had to go through, and for 10 rounds I won the fight, but I couldn't lift up my arms. For the next 3 rounds I couldn't lift up my arms. And he was hitting me and hitting me. I make a joke out of it. But he had no power in his punches. He was hitting me so much he had no power. His arm was tired.
Well, there's no question Jake LaMotta had respect for Sugar Ray Robinson, and that the Raging Bull took a lot of pride in his ability to take punishment from his nemesis. Punishment, though, hardly does justice to the furious battering LaMotta withstood in round 11.
On their feet, ready to go for round 11, and it's Robinson missing an overhand right. First blow of the round. Then as LaMotta tries for the midsection, he's tagged by a short right uppercut by Sugar Ray. Then Ray beats his retreat as LaMotta flattens in, and it's Robinson with two straight left hands in for the nose, and a right uppercut and a thumper in there by Sugar Ray. It's almost bounced the mouthpiece out of Jake LaMotta, the middleweight champion's face. Here's a left hook for Sugar Ray, and he spins away from Jake LaMotta as Jake follows him around. A left hand down under the heart of Jake. Here is the left hand of Robinson, very busy, and a left hook goes in by Sugar Ray. LaMotta just plodding in, very gamely, and he does throw one left hook that Sugar Ray backs away from. Ray gets over in a neutral corner and is away from the right hand thrown by Jake LaMotta, and then as LaMotta comes in, missing with left and right, Robinson just moves away from him. Now LaMotta gets Sugar Ray up in LaMotta's own corner, lands a left and a right, another left and another right, and Robinson does not put up his hand as LaMotta's got him in trouble. And it's Robinson rolling away, and a right hand from LaMotta, and a left hook by Robbie, and then Robbie out of it with a left hook and a right smash to the body, and Chicago Stadium goes mad as LaMotta had Sugar Ray Robinson in genuine trouble, and Robbie, great fighter that he is, came out of it to take the exchange, and Robinson misses the left hand for the midsection, scores to the right cross to the jaw, and LaMotta falls into a very tired clinch as Jake shot most of everything that he had in that first 30 seconds of round 11. Robinson with two left hands in for the nose of Jake LaMotta. Another left hand by Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray with a right cross to Jake LaMotta's left eye as Jake was coming in. That rock-ribbed chin of the champion, how he can take it. A left hand and a right uppercut by Sugar Ray. The left hand was straight, the uppercut right into the chin. Another straight left with Sugar Ray and another straight left. LaMotta, this is a left hook thrown for the head. Sugar Ray backing away, lands the left to the midsection. And Robinson is warned for a low punch. And Robinson drew a warning from Frank Secor. Then he scores with a left uppercut, a right cross. LaMotta staggers to the rope, and he may go. But he used the rope to support him. Now he stalks back in on Sugar Ray. Ray with the left to the body. And then LaMotta gains so that he is plugged back with a left hook for the chin. And Frank Secor, the referee, breaks him. With 45 seconds, there's a dazed, bewildered look in LaMotta's eyes as he plods in on Sugar Ray. And Ray belts him under the heart with a right hand. A right uppercut, a left hook, another left hook to LaMotta. He staggers back on his heels, but he does not go down. Robinson with another left hand. LaMotta staggers to the rope. A right cross nails him on the chin. He clinches with Robbie. 30 seconds to go. It's a tired LaMotta now. Robinson calling his shot. Left hand into the chin. Another left hand into the chin. Another right hand might do it. And Jake LaMotta, who has never been down in 94 fights, is in danger of going down as his hit with a left hook. Robinson with a right uppercut. The champion is reeling across the ring. He runs into a right. Robinson slices him in the nose with a right hand. And there's 10 seconds to go in round 11. And Robinson scores with a right uppercut, a left hook, a right uppercut. And Jake LaMotta is still on his feet. And what is keeping him up there? And the bell ends round 11.
Wow, is what we can say. That's incredible punishment.
I heard.
Wow.
As we watched it, I said to Pete, he's the only fighter, really, when you think about it, who could be moving backwards and still be the aggressor in the fight.
And he was landing every punch cleanly going backward. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Russ Hodges with the call there, who, as we talked about as well, later that year would be screaming the Giants win the pennant. And with the call in that fight, that's the 11th round. Early on, Sugar Ray Robinson absorbing a lot of punishment. He took real shots, a barrage of shots from LaMotta, and seemingly unfazed by it, Bert.
Well, but he went into that fight with a battle plan, and it was to wear out LaMotta by letting him, almost like Ali and Foreman, letting him wilt down like, you know, a hose that you turn the pressure off of. I mean, here's LaMotta. He's going at him. Robinson is bobbing and weaving. He's taking some punches, but blocking a heck of a lot of them, but he's letting him throw punches and then coming off the ropes doing his damage.
Just the 12th round?
Now, Robinson comes back. He's got real power. These are sharp, hard punches.
And he's hitting him with everything he throws. I mean, you know,
He doesn't miss.
He mails them. Here it is, take it.
There weren't many missed punches there.
This is something that you'd get a high percentage on CompuBox today.
Pete, what are your thoughts watching this when you see Robinson come back with that?
That he's even better than I thought.
Right, yeah, right. That's it. You think, yeah, wow.
Right. Nobody should ever call themselves Sugar ever again.
Well, in fact, he fought a fighter named George Sugar Costner.
That's Sugar Costner.
And
at the weigh-in.
At the weigh-in, he said, "What? How?
He walked up
How
to
dare
him.
you?"
No. At the weigh-in, he walked up to him and said, "Sugar, there's only one Sugar. Don't you know? I'm the only Sugar."
And
then
how
there
long
was
did it take him to knock him
like
out?
Seconds.
1 round.
Yeah.
He was
Seconds.
the only person. In fact, I think Ray Leonard called him to get permission.
He did. That's
to
right.
Get the name, use the name.
And Ray
Sugar.
gave him permission, but he, I wish he hadn't. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That's the 11th round.
But that's how he came by that name. In fact, it was Jack Case who said to George Gainford
in Watertown, New York.
He said that you've got a sweet fighter there.
Right.
And he said, sweet as sugar.
Stay tuned for more of Sugar Ray versus Jake LaMotta, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. A punishing round 12 is next on Ringside Pound for Pound, a Sugar Ray Robinson marathon. You're watching Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson Pound for Pound. Now back to Robinson versus Jake LaMotta, round 12.
Frank Secora had not heard the bell. All right, there is the bell for round 12 to get underway. And it's Jake LaMotta with a chin of his running into 2 right hands by Sugar Ray as Wade is teeing him up with his left hand now and trying to put him down, something that Jake has never done in his professional career. A left hook and a right uppercut and a straight left for the chin of Jake LaMotta. And Jake staggers back above our Pabst Blue Ribbon microphone, and he's in real trouble. Robinson pounds him to the midsection with a right hand. LaMotta comes inside and is tagged twice on the nose with Robinson's vicious left. Another left hand by Sugar Ray. Another left for Sugar Ray as he looks for the opening for the right, and he throws it and he lands. Then he misses a right uppercut. And Jake falls into a clinch and hangs on. Now Jake following Sugar Ray around, ever willing. Robinson with 3 left hooks in the right leg of Jake LaMotta skidded and almost won out from under him, but he was able to get some traction and stand up. Robinson pecking away at the forehead, scores with his right cross after 2 left hands, another left by Sugar Ray. LaMotta pounding in there and is tagged under the right eye with a right hand, and he once again falls into a clinch with only 1 minute gone in round 12. Robinson with a left hand for the nose, a right hand for the midsection, a right uppercut with Sugar Ray, a left hook, and LaMotta cannot get his hands up. He staggers around the ring, and Robinson belabors him with left and right, and LaMotta grabs him and hangs on. It's one of the most merciless beatings I've ever seen anybody receiving a prize ring, believe you me. Here is a right hand under the eye of Jake LaMotta, and he appears to be cut under there now by Sugar Ray. Ray swings a left uppercut and tags LaMotta on the chin, and Jake just seems to settle a little deeper in his tracks and refuse to go down. Now Robinson's left hand in for the forehead 3 times, 4 times. The left hook is working beautifully, and LaMotta grabs Sugar Ray and holds on again. LaMotta's face now is a crimson smear, and Robinson tees off on him with his right uppercut twice under that left eye of LaMotta, which has opened up. Now Robinson with a left hand to the body, a swinging right to the chin, a right uppercut, a left hook by Robinson, all of them lethal blows, and LaMotta continues to stagger around and not able to do much about it. Robinson with a left hook and a right uppercut, a right cross. LaMotta right above our Pabst Blue Ribbon microphone is nailed with everything in the book, but he won't go down. And he grabs and holds on to Sugar Ray, and he's one of the weariest battlers you've ever seen. Robinson with a right uppercut, a left hook, a right overhand right, a right to the midsection by Robbie without a return from Jake. And believe you me, Robbie's arms are about as weary now as Jake LaMotta's entire body. Now LaMotta out in the open, getting his left hand up to try to ward off Sugar Ray. Ray with a chopping right hand into the chin of LaMotta. LaMotta's face swollen and bleary, and here is Robinson with a left hook and a right cross, and LaMotta staggers into the rope and then grabs hold of Sugar Ray and holds on again. Here is LaMotta tagged with the right hand. He's utterly powerless to defend himself as Robinson wings him in, and the bell ends round 12.
Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson will be back with round 13 of his historic battle with Jake LaMotta, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, here on ESPN Classic.
These are clean whistling shots, left and right. How he can survive them, nobody knows. Head stake at the ringside.
You're watching Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound on ESPN Classic.
Tagged immediately with a bristling right hand on the chin and a right uppercut, and Robinson misses a left hook and then wails away with everything that he's got. And LaMotta takes it all and backs away, cannot get his hand up. And here is another left hand in by Sugar Ray, and a left hook, and LaMotta's head is almost snapped off his shoulders. Robinson brings up another short right hand, and LaMotta tries to tie him up. and referee Frank Sikora breaks it. There's a very bad swollen spot now under the left eye of Jake LaMotta. Robinson with a long overhand right, and he nails LaMotta coming in. And then Jake grabs him, and his knees sag. But he's game to the core is the Bronx Bull, the middleweight champion of the world, at least until this one is over. Here are 2, 3, 4, 5 left hands on the nose. LaMotta cannot get his hands up. Robinson with his left hand in for the head and a right hand in for the midsection. And Jake LaMotta runs into a left hook that's thrown by Sugar Ray. LaMotta botting in. Runs into a left hand, thrown on the forehead. Robinson with a right hand, thrown down to the midsection. Only 1 minute is gone here in round 13. Robinson looking for an opening, comes in and scores with a terrific right uppercut and 2 left hooks to the chin, misses a right uppercut. Then LaMotta just lurches back against the ropes and stands there. And Robbie goes to him and smashes him in the nose with his left and his right hand right down on the cheekbone. And Jake appears powerless to defend himself, and the swollen spot on his left cheek has opened up and is spilling crimson down his face. Robinson with a straight overhand right with 1.5 minutes left to go in round 13. LaMotta trying to hold on. Some of the crowd yelling, "Stop it," but you don't do that to a champion. He has to go out fighting. LaMotta misses the left hook thrown for the head of Sugar Ray. Ray with 2 left hands on that swollen left eye of Jake's. Another left hand. Then Jake is able to move away from a right hand, and then he falls back to the ropes, but does not go down as Robinson tags him with a straight right hand on the forehead. And LaMotta seems close to come away from the rope, but he does come out, and Robinson hits him with a powerful right hand, a left uppercut, a right cross, and LaMotta holds on, and they're going to stop it. Ray Robinson is the new champion of the world.
One question before you go, Ray. When did you know that you had him? Because you were fighting pretty evenly for 8 rounds.
Well, that's the way we planned the fight. We figured LaMotta would be strong as he was. First part of the fight and the last part of the fight, he would weaken. We figured to box along the first part of the fight and wait till he showed signs of weakening, which he did.
I see.
And in those late rounds, after the 8th, he showed signs, and my manager told me to start throwing, open up heavier punches.
Well, Ray, my congratulations to you. You're a wonderful champion. As a welterweight, I hope that you're the greatest the middleweight division ever knew.
All right, there we go. So what, Bert, is the legacy of this fight? We look at this and we're amazed by the ferociousness of it. What did this do for both men?
Well, for Ray Robinson, it solidified his credentials, if you will, moving up now from welterweight to win the middleweight title. For Jake LaMotta, it would take a time in coming. He would go on, fight, even get knocked down, which nobody remembers, by a fighter named Danny Nardico a few years later. It took a movie by Scorsese called Raging Bull that came out of a book about this thick. I think it was the Z's in the phone book that they put into it. But Raging Bull became the legacy of Jake LaMotta. And as Henry Winkler, Irving Winkler said, it's a Winkler. No,
not
Irving
the Fonz.
Winkler.
Yes.
Irving Winkler, the producer and director, said, we almost made him a nice guy, but it wasn't quite possible.
He was actually upset in that he said he never actually used profanity. He said it was his brother and other people around him, but a lot of other things. To take issue with that one thing is something else. Dave, where did Ray Robinson rate this among his great performances?
Well, he just, he liked the idea of finally getting rid of the LaMotta curse or whatever you want to call it. Even though he usually won the fight, LaMotta was always there as the guy who had once beaten him.
Mm-hmm. Pete, what do you think? Where does this leave?
I think the legacy was slightly different. This fight, because it was seen by a lot of people, showed that boxing could have beauty to it. That as brutal as it can be, as brutal as that fight was, it was a very tough fight. People were hurting each other. It had the thing that Robinson brought to the whole sport, which was it could be beautiful too. It was a kind of savage ballet of some kind. And I think that washed over a generation of writers, for example. I think everybody from Mailer to Baldwin to a whole lot of people went on for 30 years remembering that that's what it could be. Mm-hmm. And I think in that sense, Robinson made the sport into something more than just a lot of colorful guys showing up and making a lot of money. It became another thing altogether.
Jake LaMotta also continues to make, if you will, traffic out of this, and it has wheels. He continues to say in his monologue, I fought Sugar Ray Robinson so many times, it's a wonder I don't have diabetes. So he's continuing to use that as his final coda for part of his monologue.
Sugar Ray Robinson at this point is 29 years old, just shy of being 30, so still at his peak. He'd move up in weight, though. Coming up here, Randy Turpin, title showdowns, and a review of Sugar Ray's childhood, the early years, and the unbeaten amateur record.
I guess that Robinson's series with Jake LaMotta showed just how great a fighter he was. He was too good for anyone in his own weight class, so they put him against LaMotta, who was this tough middleweight. So, although he may have been more dazzling early in his career, in the late 30s, and dominant, he was so great that he in effect had to be handicapped by moving up in weight class to fight bigger guys. Otherwise, it was a performance and not a contest.
You're watching Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound on ESPN Classic. Sugar Ray Robinson learned to box in his teens in the same Brewster gym where Joe Louis emerged. Robinson later moved to New York City and started fighting amateur bouts. Word spread like wildfire about a kid who had the complete package: power, speed, and toughness. In 1939, the teenage sensation took on Louis Valentine in the Golden Gloves featherweight final at Madison Square Garden.
Ray Robinson in white trunks comes out for round one against Louis Valentine. This is the finals in the featherweight division of the 1939 Golden Glove. In reaching tonight's final, Robinson has shown everyone that there's a brilliant young star rising in the boxing world. It's all Ray Robinson. Louis Valentine in dark trunks has shown tremendous courage, hanging in there with one of the most vicious punching amateurs ever seen in Golden Glove competition. The referee separates the two fighters. Ray has impressed everyone with his masterful boxing. 19-year-old Ray Robinson is awarded a unanimous decision over a game Louis Valentine and wins the featherweight division of the 1939 Golden Glove.
You had never seen, Burt Randolph Sugar had never seen that.
I'd never seen that. And you know what? You see the potentiality of the greatness right there.
He doesn't look 19 years old. I mean, when you look at him there, that looks like the guy that
you don't
later
look 19 either.
No, I know, but I'm not. He was 19. His amateur record, I think, is something that's tremendous. Again, he went 40-0 as a pro, and this guy had never been beaten. He had all these knockouts.
129 I've got it at as an amateur. 129 without a loss.
No, 89.
Is it 89?
89.
But I've seen so many different...
Smokers, perhaps?
Yes.
That sort of thing?
I've seen so many... I don't know that his fight with Willie Pep is on there.
Where he was held over because people in Connecticut knew you can't be
this
you can't beat Willie Pep and still be an amateur. He actually got held over?
Yes.
Kept there by...
and he was a featherweight, albeit, you know, Pep was also a featherweight, but he was much taller, bigger, remembering the trouble that Pep had with Sadler. But Ray Robinson was some work of art. You can see here the beginnings of greatness, the seeds.
Now he moves on, and of course he's also known for tragedy in the ring. June 24th, 1947, Sugar Ray Robinson defends his title against Jimmy Doyle in Cleveland. The night before the fight, Sugar Ray Robinson, on record as saying this, he had a premonition that he would kill Doyle and wanted to call off that fight. Sugar Ray Robinson would knock Doyle down in the 8th round. The bell rings, saving the knockout, but Doyle's corner rushes into the ring, realizing the severity of the injury. Doyle died in the hospital the next afternoon. A lot of stories, Bert, as you know, are apocryphal stories, and you go back and you think, well, these things actually never happened. This actually did happen. Here's Sugar Ray Robinson again on the death of Jimmy Doyle.
The night before the fight with him, I dreamed in my sleep that I knocked him out and he died in the ring. And I got up that morning and I told the commission that I wasn't going to fight. And they said, why? And I told them what I had dreamed, Aldo. They said, oh, Ray, no, that's just a dream. And they called a Catholic priest and a minister. And they came and they talked to me and told me to go ahead with the fight. And just like we dreamed, Aldo, I hit him a left hook, and he died right there in the ring. It's terrible when you have a premonition before. You know, I had the premonition before that this was going to happen, and for a long time, Aldo, I couldn't fight. I couldn't fight. When I started again, I couldn't hit a man hard, you know. I was very trying.
There was an investigation into this too, Bert.
There was a coroner's inquest, and they asked him, Mr. Robinson, did you intend to hurt Mr. Doyle? And Ray Robinson answered, I'm in the hurt business. And he was.
How did it affect him after this? Again, this is Sugar Ray Robinson was saying right there in his later years that it did affect him. Did it really affect him?
For a period of time, but not with the sensitivity of that affected an Emil Griffith and Ezzard Charles, both of whom killed men in the ring.
Many fighters who would
Yes.
go on, Gabriel Ellis, who would never actually recover after a ring death.
And it surely it affects some, but I think Ray Robinson put that behind him because he fights on for almost 20 more years. So, and Jimmy Doyle being the first defense of his welterweight title, we now know that he went on to defend that and defend his middleweight title and win it 5 times. So I don't think it really made a heck of a lot of difference after a mourning period in the ring and out.
All right, when we come back, again, we'll have much more as Sugar Ray Robinson goes on tour in Europe and what it took to finally defeat Sugar Ray Robinson in the ring. We're back here at Gleason's Gym, and we pick up the story of Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson now ready to go on a tour of Europe and become a bigger worldwide star. Bert Sugar, why does he go to Europe?
He goes to Europe not of his own volition. He goes because of the LaMotta fight. He's just won a LaMotta fight, knocks him out 13th round, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. However, the IBC, which is now being run on a matchmaking basis by Blinky Palermo and Frankie Carbo, has come to Robinson with 2 deals. Number one of which is you win the first fight, Jake wins the second, and the third's up for grabs, or any other combination of the same. So we get
on the level. Third one would be on the level. A 3-fight deal is presented to Sugar Ray.
To which he says no.
Right.
Second deal, you will carry Jake for the entire fight. Remember, he's carried others before this. He carried Charlie Fusari, for which he was said to be the greatest carrier since Mother Dion. He can carry people. We're going to bet it goes the 15-round limit. It doesn't. He's been cordially invited not to fight in the U.S. again, even if he is the middleweight champion, because you did business with the IBC. So he goes to Europe. He and an entourage of thousands. He is taking a pink flamingo Cadillac, or flamingo pink. He is taking a masseuse, a golf pro, a hairdresser.
And he's adored. He finds he's adored in Europe.
And he's got a midget that's a mascot. He is taking them all. And they love him in Europe. And he does a tour of Europe.
Fighting his way through Germany, Italy, Belgium, and France, Sugar Ray's travels take him to London, England, where he squares off against Randy Turpin. In this fight, Robinson, perhaps underestimating Europe's middleweight champion, loses a 15-round decision in one of boxing's most stunning upsets. 2 months later, Ray Robinson was ready to avenge the bitter defeat in New York City. Ringside now recues Robinson Turpin 2, July 10th, 1951, at the Polo Grounds.
Polo Grounds, New York. Sugar Ray Robinson enters the ring to try to win back the world's middleweight title he lost just 64 nights before in London to England's Randy Turpin. Turpin, the champion, greets Ray in his corner as the great crowd of 61,000 tensely waits the opening bell. The ringside is jam-packed with celebrities. On hand are Nettie Deponay, president of RKO Radio Picture, former champion Joe Lewis, and the man who promoted his fights, Mike Jacobs. Retired undefeated heavyweight title holder Gene Tunney with Bernard Gimbel. The Yankees' Joe DiMaggio, comedian Eddie Cantor. Right to left, Lowell Thomas, General Douglas MacArthur, and Boxing Commissioner Eddie Egan are all set. So are the fans, who paid a record non-heavyweight gate of $750,000. Now, announcer Johnny Eddy gets things underway.
Ring officials have been assigned here by the New York State Athletic Commission. Judges are Joe Agnello and Harold Barnes. Timekeeper George Bannon. Counting for the knockdowns at the bell, Ray Miller. Referee Ruby Goldstein. This is the main event, 15 rounds for the middleweight championship of the world, presented by the International Boxing Club. The principals from New York City, wearing white trunks, weighing 157.5 pounds, the challenger, Sugar Ray Robinson. His opponent from Leamington Spa, England, wearing black trunks, weighing 159, the middleweight champion of the world, Randy Chapin. 15 rounds for the middleweight championship of the world. The other way, Chapin. Step back, clean, boys. Quick, clean, right, clean. Move through, Randy. Clean, boys.
More of the 1951 Sugar Ray Robinson-Randy Turpin rematch from the Polo Grounds ahead. Later, it's the dead-end kid, Rocky Graziano, who predicts a knockout over Sugar Ray in their 1952 title fight.
And Ray goes down.
See Ray overwhelmed by 100-plus degree heat at Yankee Stadium in his match against Joey Maxim.
That's it. Robinson's right hand misses completely, and he falls flat on his face.
You're watching Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound on ESPN Classic.
Step back, come on, Randy. You two, Ray, no hitting on a break. Step back.
Although the totally game Turpin was behind in rounds and points, he still was very much in the battle in these middle rounds.
I'm Brian Kenny, and welcome back to Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson. Randy Turpin's 1951 victory over Sugar Ray for the middleweight crown was one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. A former Royal Navy cook, Turpin hailed from the English Midlands, home to such other British luminaries as William Shakespeare and Robert Plant, the lead singer for Led Zeppelin. But prior to his victory over Robinson, Turpin had a low profile. Even in England, he traveled to Earl's Court for the fight in London on the tube. And none of the boxing fans alongside him recognized the man who's about to make boxing history. His victory was celebrated throughout Britain, and it was reported that the King of England, George VI, interrupted a reception to listen to the final rounds on the radio. Let's get back to the action of the Turpin-Robinson rematch in the Polo Grounds, and we pick it up in round 7.
The Englishman, whose granddaddy was a bare-knuckle fighter, is showing that he also has plenty of what it takes: heart and stamina.
All right, check it out. Step back, Ray. You two, come on. Shoot. No hitting, Ray. No hitting on a break. All right, I'll take the clean break. One step back.
Robinson was frequently short with his left, at this stage of the fight, and also quite often wild with his right hand. Turpin was wild too in spots. The boys get themselves tied up in a lover's knot here and smile at each other.
All right, a clean break. Step back, Ray. You two, Ray.
Stay tuned for more of the Robinson-Turpin fight from the Polo Grounds. See if the British champion can survive Sugar Ray's best shots. And then it's a brawl at Chicago Stadium as Robinson and Rocky Graziano send each other tumbling in a hyped showdown at Chicago Stadium. Plus all the storylines from Bert Sugar and guests at Gleason's Gym. This is Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson. This is Ringside. Back to the Polo Grounds, round 9 of the Randy Turpin Sugar Ray 1951 middleweight title fight as Robinson tries to avenge his stunning loss 2 months earlier in London to Turpin.
All right, I got you. One clean break. Step back, folks.
Randy still was strong, still fresh here, and this 9th round was a very good one for him. But Sugar Ray still was the master craftsman, still a master fencer.
Break it up 3. Nobody hit on the break. One step back. All right, step back.
Watch for trouble. Trouble.
Stops the bout. The time, 2 minutes, 52 seconds of the 10th round. The winner and the new middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray
During the fight, up until the time of the knockout, I felt that I was ahead. And after the 8th round, my manager and I had gotten together, and my trainer, Pee Wee Beal, that I should coast for a couple of rounds and go all out in the last 5 rounds. But after I had a little misfortune getting my eye cut, when I saw that blood, well, I don't know, I forgot about the plans and said this is the time to go all out. And I was very happy that I was able to connect with a solid blow to put Mr. Turpin down. I'm very happy to have regained the middleweight championship of the world.
An unbelievable show of power. Bert, to see, I mean, it's inspiring. And he's in trouble. Ray Robinson's in trouble.
What has happened, Brian, is that in the 10th round, he's already knocked Turpin down once. Turpin has gotten back into the fight, but in the 10th round, Turpin cuts Ray badly over the eye. So badly that not only does the referee later admit that he would have stopped the fight had it gone to the bell, but Ray knows this, and he unleashes not only that right hand and knocking down Turpin, but a volley of punches, every one of which went through. And it's just, I mean, it is one of the great comebacks, albeit there was nothing to come back from. But this fight ends in the last 5 seconds of the 10th round with Ray Robinson on the cusp of losing again because of an eye cut.
These are some of the most vicious right hands you'll ever see. And short, compact, yet...
And look how he's not swinging wildly either. He goes to the body to open up the head. I mean, everything is calculated and leaves him sort of just lying there on the ropes.
Now, at this point, is he more accepted as, you know, Harlem would erupt in
Harlem
Glee?
did.
Is now he is more, he's come back from Europe and he's more of a star, even in his own city.
He's also, I think, validated his credentials as an all-time great.
Yeah.
He's lost only a second fight. Remember the first against LaMotta, he avenged, and avenged, and avenged 4 times. And he's now avenged his second loss against Turpin. In other words, he has evened his playing field and record, and all of a sudden everybody feels he is the great champion that they were looking for and thought he was going to be. Speaking of going to be, Randy Turpin goes into decline. He once again challenges when Robinson, subsequent to this, retires. Bobo Olson fights and beats Randy Turpin for the middleweight title that Robinson had abdicated, vacated. He subsequently loses, and the despair and his businesses go south. Freddie Mills, a former light heavyweight champion, had just committed suicide. Randy Turpin said if it was good enough for Freddie, it's good enough for me. And he commits suicide. Everything had gone sour for him after that fight.
That's not too long after.
No.
It was in the mid-60s when that happens with Turpin.
And he had just, those 2 fights were the highlight of his life. After that parade, after the first win in July of '51, it all went wrong for Randy Turpin.
All right, we'll continue along here on our story with Sugar Ray Robinson as he continues along, once again, the middleweight champion of the world. We're back at Gleason's gym right after this.
Ray Robinson had his own style. Nobody could copy it.
Sugar Ray had one of the quickest left hooks in the business.
Pow! One of those things you go, whoa, where does that come from? That's what Sugar, and when he got you in trouble, curtains.
Great chin and enormous courage. You were in terrible trouble if Robinson was on one knee looking at you, because he always got up.
Even though he was taking consciousness from the other person, the manner in which he did it left you breathless. There was a mystery to it.
He was a wizard in the ring. His hands moved like lightning. He was like a gazelle. It was like watching a ballet. You would never know the other guy was in the ring when he was there.
He had these fights that were all Hollywood scripts that just added to the legend of who he was.
Now that's analysis, when you can have Jackie Mason and Larry Merchant on the same piece of tape, Bert.
Everybody knows. There are 2 announcers on HBO. No. What it does is prove that Ray Robinson was appreciated by everybody from every walk of life. He was that good.
1952, that's where we're at right now, and Sugar Ray Robinson is the middleweight champion of the world once again. He's just beaten Bobo Olson, and now here's Rocky Graziano. Set up this fight, Bert.
Well, Rocky Graziano is probably one of the most interesting stories, particularly if you saw the movie Somebody Up There Likes Me. He was a dead-end kid, so the Leo Gorcey, Hans Hull movie Dead End Kids, raised on Mulberry Bend area in Manhattan. And he once told me, he said, I never stole anything that didn't begin with an A purse, a car, a building, a train. He stole. He was a tough kid. He also was a tough kid in the ring. This man's name, Rocco Barbella, who changed his name to Graziano for the reason a lot of them did. The other kid was a boxer. He needed a card. He later said, how did I know that kid had a worse record than I did? He had a bigger rap sheet. But the way he fought was interesting. It was, let's just say, no holds barred. And he would hold fighters as he did Red Cochran with one hand and beat the bejabbers at him with the other. He would hit Marty Servo getting off the deck as he got up. He would hit Bummy Davis as he was on the ground to make sure he didn't.
Was this all in New York? I know Carmen Basilio said in his town he could get away with this, or was this just everywhere?
It was all in New York. He became a very big hero in New York and had at least 2, if not 3, of the greatest fights right after the war, 46, 7, and 8 with Tony Zale. Jump, skip, here we are in 52. He is still there on the middleweight horizon. Ray Robinson has won his title back from Bobo Olson, defended it against Bobo, and here is Rocky Graziano, who is one of the greatest right-handed hitters still in the game. We've got 2 hitters. What happens?
Here we go. Round number 1. Let's pick it up again. Sugar Ray Robinson against Rocky Graziano.
The International Boxing Club has finally put together the match that the American public has been seeing through its crystal ball for many years. A so-called dream match between the challenger and former middleweight champion of the world, Rocky Graziano, and the current middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Robinson. They're giving a demonstration of his magically fast feet in his traditional pre-fight round. Round 1. Graziano, the shorter of the two, has the shorter reach and has come in at 160 pounds flat, while Sugar Ray Robinson has come in at 158. Graziano's task will be getting under those long arms of Ray Robinson. His power lies in his strong right arm, his ability to force a fight and mix it at great length. In Ray Robinson, Graziano, who has never been regarded as a boxer, meets one of the greatest master boxers of all time, called by many, pound for pound, the greatest fighter of our time. Robinson shows plenty of authority in his own right arm. And there you see a beautiful example of his combination punching. Graziano being warned by the referee not to rabbit punch. Graziano is 29 years old, and Ray Robinson is 32. Both of these men have known what it is to lose their middleweight championships of the world. In order to get in past the reach of Ray Robinson, Graziano had to dash forward in a maneuver typical of Jake LaMotta when he has been fighting bigger men. The first time that Graziano has thrown that vaunted right hand. And his right hand again drives Robinson back. Robbie was stung by that right hand. Graziano continues to force the fight, set the pace throughout. A beautiful exchange. Robinson's theory apparently is to box Graziano and stay away from his right hand.
Coming up, Robinson pounces on Graziano in round 3. Can Rock survive Ray's best shot?
And there goes his mouthpiece, and Graziano hits the canvas.
And Classic digs out more time capsule treasures from the Sugar Ray archives. Rare training scenes, newsreels, and interviews. Keep it where it is for more of the Sugar Ray Robinson Marathon on Ringside. This is Ringside. Back to the Sugar Ray Robinson Rocky Graziano 1952 middleweight title fight from Chicago Stadium. Here's round 2.
Round 2. Graziano first loomed on the boxing horizon in 1945 with his sensational KO of the Philadelphian Billy Arnold. At that time, he shrieked, "Get me Ray Robinson," who even in 1945 was an established boxing star. Graziano was to wait 7 years, but here he is, on the moment he himself called for. Graziano has beaten such stars as Charlie Fusari, Tony Gennaro. His finest hour came in 1947, when he won the middleweight championship of the world from Tony Zale in his second fight with Zale. Robinson looked very good in his training for this fight and as fast as ever, although believed by some to be on a downhill slide. Robinson remains respectful of Graziano. Robbie himself is not a one-hand punch knockout artist, but depends upon his marksmanship and a steady tattoo on one particular spot to wear his man down. There you see those flashing fists and that beautiful timing. But again, Robinson has to back up before Graziano. Notice how in coming out of a clinch, Robinson will start throwing punches first, gaining that split half second. Keep his man off balance, and to get in the blows that will eventually win for him. Graziano appears to be tired. That blow came as the bell sounded. Round 3. Robinson won his title in February 14, 1951 from Jake LaMotta, lost it to Randy Turpin in England in July, and regained it in a tremendous effort in September in New York City. There you see him double hooking and carrying those punches underneath into the body.
this point, many experts are saying that Graziano looked anything but bad in his boxing against Ray Robinson. And Ray goes down. It's an official knockdown. But before the fight began, the Illinois Boxing Commission ruled that a man would not have to stay down for the mandatory count of 8. Maybe the knockdown will infuriate Robinson. This has been his history in his great efforts in the ring. It took a lashing by Randy Turpin in their second fight to bring him back to a point where he smashed Turpin to the ground to take back the middleweight championship of the world. So Graziano has scored the first knockdown. And there goes his mouthpiece, and Graziano hits the canvas. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ray Robinson retains the middleweight championship of the world. Graziano is still trying to kick some life into his legs and some spark into his numbing senses. A crowd of 23,785, which never sat in its expensive seats, witnessing one of the finest exchanges for the middleweight championship of the world, paying over $252,000. Graziano walking dejectedly to his corner and understandably sad. This was the moment he had asked for, but certainly not the conclusion he had anticipated. But in his sadness, he might reflect that he was beaten by a man who has lost only twice in 136 fights in a brilliant career, called by many over and over again the finest fighting machine of our time, pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson, middleweight champion of the world.
From the first round, he went after Sugar Ray with a vengeance.
Graziano stalking, coming in all the way.
Down goes Sugar Ray.
Graziano pours him with the right hand.
The crowd is going crazy.
Robinson backing towards the ropes. Graziano coming at him again.
I think in that moment, he both had a chance and also knew he had no chance. This was the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Once you didn't knock him out with a perfect punch, the rest was going to come.
Forces the right hand to the jaw. Hurts Rocky to the left. There goes Rocky's mouthpiece, and he's down from the right to the jaw.
The mistake that Graziano made was he attempted to duplicate that same punch, and Robinson beat him to the punch with his own terrific right hand that knocked him out.
Keep it here on Classic for more of Ringside. Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound. Find out whether it was the 100-plus degree heat or Joey Maxim that put Robinson down on the canvas at Yankee Stadium. Welcome back to Ringside. Sugar Ray Robinson. Our marathon celebration of the career of the boxer for whom the phrase pound for pound, the world's greatest fighter, was coined. Sugar Ray Robinson was to boxing what Mickey Mantle was to baseball and Jim Brown to football. He combined speed and power to overwhelm the opposition. Here's Dan Patrick on Sugar Ray Robinson, a man with his own distinct sense of style both in and out of the ring.
After 85 straight amateur victories, 19-year-old Sugar Ray turned pro in 1940 as a welterweight and went undefeated in his first 40 bouts. At his camp in Greenwood Lake, New York, the atmosphere often reflected his manic nature.
He used to do crazy things in training camp. I remember him putting lizards and snakes in people's beds. And the guy would get ready to get in the bed and pull back this thing, and everybody would be at the door watching.
Ray ran 5 miles a day, walked 2 miles at night after dinner.
3 o'clock in the morning, you know, we'd get up in the room and shadow box.
He drank beef blood to strengthen him.
We had one of those old orange squeezers in camp that you crank up, and I put maybe 4 or 5 pieces of meat in there and put a glass in and squeeze it down.
It also made him very nervous and temperamental, and you knew he was drinking blood.
Coming up, we'll have Sugar Ray's bid for a major milestone as he moves up to challenge light heavyweight champion Joey Maxim. This showdown would turn into one of the most memorable fights at Yankee Stadium, with Mother Nature turning this tussle into a survival of the fittest. This is Ringside, Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound.
And we're back after knocking out Rocky Graciano. Sugar Ray Robinson was moving up in weight, going to light heavyweight. Originally scheduled for June 23rd, 1952, the Robinson-Joey Maxim fight was postponed because of rain. 2 days later, Sugar Ray climbed into the ring, giving away almost 15 pounds to Maxim, the light heavyweight champion of the world. Burt Randolph Sugar is still with us here on Ringside. We're joined right now by the former welterweight and middleweight champion of the world, Carmen Basilio. How are you, Carmen?
I'm fine. How you doing?
Good to have you here, champ.
Nice.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. It's wonderful.
Watch him, he's going to hit you.
But he's known as Carmen, C-A-R-M-E-N. Is that your name, Carmen? That's a girl's name, isn't it?
That's true.
You take a big chance, Bert.
I spelled it that way because I had 6 sisters older than me that taught me to spell my name, C-A-R-M-E-N.
What's on your birth certificate?
My birth certificate is C-A-R-M-A-N, but I never changed it.
All right.
And guess
so
what?
we've done that.
I joined the Marine Corps, same C-A-R-M-E-N, C-A-R-M, it stays that way.
Bert, talk to us about Joey Maxim. Set us up on Maxim. What type of fighter?
Out of Cleveland, Ohio, not a hard puncher. He was light heavyweight champion who had an interesting manager, Jack Doc Kearns. We've seen that name pop up with Mickey Walker and with Jack Dempsey beforehand. And he was going to take the Robinson fight for his biggest payday. And when you mentioned, by the by, that it was 2 days postponed because of rain, it now becomes the hottest day in the history of June in New York. Anywhere between 95 and 100, and under the Klieg lights, under the lights at Yankee Stadium that night, one writer, Jesse Abramson, puts his thermometer in the ring before the fight just to test how hot it is, 104 degrees.
This is at night?
At night.
104, yeah. Carmen, what are your thoughts on Joey Maxim?
Huh?
What are your thoughts on Maxim? What do you think of Joey Maxim?
Not a hard puncher, but a very clever fighter. And very strong and well-conditioned. He was a great fighter.
What were your thoughts on Robinson going up to light heavyweight? Did you think he could take the title at 175?
Well, he couldn't take that extra weight. He ran out of gas.
Yeah, but under 104 degree heat.
Well, the heat had something to do with it, but Maxim had the same heat.
You're true, but remember, that was the fight in which the referee, Ruby Goldstein, collapses at the end of that 10th round.
The referee collapsed.
So they had to bring in another referee, Ray Miller.
Right. We're going to look at that right now. Let's start it off, though. Again, Ray Robinson moving up, round number 1, taking on Joey Maxim.
Everybody's very frisky at this stage of the bout, especially referee Ruby Goldstein. A little later on, we'll see him when he's not quite so lively. Robinson, too, is full of bounce here, throwing left and right hands and very busy. In this round and the second one, Robinson takes a clear advantage. Ray never looked trimmer, but both fighters seem to be in excellent shape at this stage of the bout. However, it was hot. Robinson misses a right and falls away. Real good, lively round, this one. You can see Sugar Ray is full of fight. In those white trunks, the light heavyweight champion from Ohio looks even bigger, and to have a bigger advantage over Robinson than the actual 15.5 pounds on the scales. It was in this round that the clinches began to evidence themselves, and the referee had quite a little trouble breaking the boys apart. That's a real bear hug.
More of the Sugar Ray Robinson-Joey Maxim 1952 title fight. Ringside returns on ESPN Classic. Back to ringside as Sugar Ray Robinson takes on Joey Maxim for the World Light Heavyweight title from Yankee Stadium in 1952. We move on to round 7.
So the rounds went one much like the other until the 7th, which was one of the best rounds of the fight and certainly one of the best for Robinson. In fact, it was high tide for the challenger, and you will see him in this round at his very best as he was in this particular fight. By which I mean that at no time in this fight did Robinson look as good as he had at other times in his career. And there's some question among boxing people as to whether he hasn't begun to fade a little bit. Ray digging away at the body, then tied up again. Maxim using his weight to good advantage. Joey not throwing many punches, but not being hurt either. He just won't break. Here it was that Robinson used his speed to great advantage, his greater speed, and looked as if he could just go along and win this fight pretty much at will. However, it wasn't to turn out that way. And the end was a very sad one for Sugar Ray. Now, Goldstein was warning him about holding on too long. Now watch Robinson. He was mad then, fighting in a good flurry. Some of these punches in here were hard, solid licks. And that's the end of round 7. Round 10 marked the turn of the tide for Robinson and the end of the fight for referee Ruby Goldstein. You see the referee here getting a spirit of ammonia capsule from Dr. Schiff. Note that the bounce has gone out of the referee's legs and a little out of Robinson's too. That heat was beginning to tell, melting the sugar and cooking the referee. Maxim a little bit more aggressive now. Sugar Ray was still in charge, but backing away, not showing quite as much fight as he had in the earlier rounds. Goldstein plainly is in bad way. Note that Ruby breaks the fighters only one time in this round, and that was it. Referee holding onto the ropes. Well, there he does touch him again.
Brian Kenny back here at Gleason's Gym alongside the Brooklyn waterfront in New York City.
The heat in the ring at Yankee Stadium on the night of the Sugar Ray Robinson-Joey Maxim fight registered at 104 degrees. New York Herald Tribune writer Jess Abramson put a thermometer in the ring apron. Referee Ruby Goldstein was not the only victim of the inferno.
And now you will see referee Goldstein leaving the fight. The first time in 30 years of covering boxing that I've ever seen this happen. The man standing with him is Dr. Schiff of the New York State Athletic Commission. Into the ring comes Ray Miller, takes over Goldstein's scorecard, and will referee the rest of the fight. Now let's watch Ruby leave. There's still bounce in his legs, but it's not the kind he had before. However, he was all right in a very few minutes.
Sugar Ray went to his corner after that 9th round and told his cornerman he was getting sleepy. He later shared that that was the last thing he remembered about the fight. Coming up, we'll see who was the last man standing. This is Ringside, a Sugar Ray Robinson marathon on ESPN Classic. We return here ringside here at Gleason's Gym. Brian Kenny with Carmen Basilio and Burt Randolph. Sugar, let's pick it up once again. June 25th, 1952. Sugar Ray Robinson well ahead on points, but in the burning heat at Yankee Stadium. Here's round 13.
And now it's round 13. The unlucky number, the fatal number in this fight. Nobody knew it then, but this is the last round. Look at Robinson's legs. You'll see how he wobbles, that they've almost turned to jelly. None of that fine skill that he usually has. He's dancing around, but he doesn't know quite where he's going. Maxim still seems sluggish, but otherwise he's quite fresh. But Sugar Ray is limp as a paper doll now. Outside the ropes, he has trouble getting back. Throws a right hand and misses it a long way. And watch the next right hand he throws. Robbie has the bind staggers now, but he's still trying, still the champion, still hoping to hang in there through this round and 2 more. But he's so tired now. That right hand, and he staggered away from it unhurt. Now, in just a moment, the high point of the fight. That's it. Robinson's right hand misses completely, and he falls flat on his face. Can he hang on? He'll throw one more right, one more desperation right. That was it. Weaving, bobbing, falling away, trying to avoid punishment. And there's the end of the round. Now look at him. They help poor Sugar Ray back to his corner, but he doesn't know where he is, and that's obvious. Now the doctor has him in tow. Dr. Schiff again. His seconds work feverishly over him. Can he come out? Will he come out? Now they try to give him a little air in the intense heat. 104 degrees and it's all over. The bell is rung, and Joe Maxim still is the light heavyweight, the 175-pound champion of the world.
So there we go. Sugar Ray Robinson could not come out for the 14th round. How far ahead was he, Bert?
Well, after 10 rounds, 2 of the judges had given him just 1 round to Maxim. One judge, 2. Maxim came on a little bit in the 10th round. He had to do something. He was posing as one of Madame Tussauds waxworks. You know, he was just standing there. Robinson was moving and moving and moving. Afterwards, Maxim said, I couldn't keep up with him, so I just didn't try. But Robinson was dictating the action. All of a sudden, Maxim starts to come on. He comes on more in the 11th, and you can see Robinson wilting under the heat, almost like you turned a hose off and it just went, and he's going, and by the 13th round, did you see he threw a punch, missed, and fell on his nose and could barely get up from that.
Carmen, what are your thoughts on that? You're known as one of the toughest guys ever in the ring. Is it conditioning, or do you reach a certain point with heat where you just can't control it?
You're talking about Robinson's conditioning? He was always in great shape, there's no doubt about it. I think there was a difference in size, ran him out of gas.
And not the heat?
And Maxim was bigger and could take that. So that was the problem. The difference in size.
And it wasn't the heat?
It had nothing. They're blaming it on the heat.
I mean, look at this. He can barely stand up.
That had a lot to do with it, but right, a bigger guy is going to be able to stand
They're blaming it
a
on
little
the
more.
heat, but the heat was the big guy in front of him.
Well, Robinson, after the fight, said Ruby Goldstein collapsed after the 10th round and nobody was hitting him. So, obviously, it wasn't...
And when it tells you Ruby Goldstein was not in shape, that's the whole story. Because he wasn't get hit.
Now, Sugar Ray Robinson retires at this point to become a dancer, goes on tour as a dancer. What were your thoughts, Carmen, at that point for Sugar Ray Robinson? About him retiring and going on tour?
He's the hardest puncher that I ever fought. He was probably the tallest guy that I ever fought.
Well, but now he's dancing his way across Europe, and you're left in the welterweight mix.
Yeah.
Did you ever think at this point you would face him one day for the middleweight title while he's... Would he come back?
Well, toward the end, we thought about it when I was, welterweight champion, and the possibility arose that the match could be made. And it was a perfect time. Got the fans interested. We could draw a good crowd.
He's now tap dancing his way across Europe. And he misses the ring, Ray Robinson. He wants to come back. He doesn't yet know Carmen is in his headlights because he's got to win back the title. Comes back and fights Joey Rondon. Second fight he loses, Tiger Jones. And yet 7 fights later, he's fighting Carl Bobo Olsen, who won the title over Randy Turpin and is now the middleweight champion of the world.
His retirement is what, Bert? 2.5 years, about 2 years? That's a long time.
2.5 years.
That's a long time to step away. And people are probably wondering, now, again, as Walker Smith, he was a kid who would dance on street corners. Was he any good? Let the people judge. Let's take a look, and we'll weigh in. Here is Sugar Ray Robinson on tour. All right, was he any good? He could move a little bit, Bert.
It reminds me of the old days, way back at the turn of the last century, when champions would go on vaudeville tours for bag punching. Can you imagine? And he would do that in a tux, long tails, like he was Fred Astaire. Can you imagine paying money to see that?
No, but in the day, did that pass as entertainment, Bert? You tell us. You're the conduit to the past, Bert.
Yeah, fair. I don't think people wanted to see him as a dancer. Sugar Ray Robinson was known as Monsieur Sucre in Paris. They loved him for one show, but he missed the action.